welcome to Little Learners. In today's video I'm going to be talking about how to empower young girls and to build the confidence of girls in general. Before we start, I just want to clarify that when I use the word girl, I am referring to anyone who identifies as a girl, but of course gender is whatever it means to you, and so please do keep that in mind while you're watching the video. I think it's no secret that we live in quite a patriarchal world and girls are often at a disadvantage to boys. For example, when girls grow up, they are more likely to earn less than men and they are more likely to take a career break to raise children rather than a man taking a career break to raise children, or both doing it equally. Throughout history, women and girls have been taught that their appearance is the most important thing about them. Of course, nowadays, things have moved on, but these stereotypes still exist. Girls will grow up to be in particular occupations. Girls will grow up to become mothers. Girls should be pretty. The list goes on, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So how can we make sure that we are empowering young girls to know that their worth is more than just their appearance and that they are able to do amazing things just like boys can? I got the idea for this video because Rebel Girls reached out to me, who make incredible books just like this one, and they sent me some of their books which I'll show you. This one is their most recent, Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, 100 Immigrant Women Who Changed the World. And in here are incredible stories about incredible women who changed the world. I'll tell you more about this in a moment. So I think the first thing that we can do to make sure we are building confidence for young girls and empowering them to do what they want to do is to make sure we're commenting on things other than their appearance. It's fine to say that girls look lovely, or that you really like what they're wearing, or their hair looks really nice that day, but it's important to make sure that you're commenting more on other things, such as the joke they told was really funny, they always make you laugh. They worked really hard on building a Lego tower and you were so impressed with their concentration. When their friend was hurt in the playground, they went over and gave them a hug and tried to help them feel better, and so you were really, really proud of how kind and empathetic they were. Pointing out times that they really make an effort to do something, so not just praising them for their achievements, but also how they got there. So for example, I know that you really, really wanted to be able to ride your bike, and even though you fell off a few times, you kept getting on and you kept going, and eventually you did it. And even though you were making some mistakes and got it wrong sometimes, you didn't let that stop you. So really praising young girls for their resilience and their intelligence and who they are as a person rather than how they look. The second thing is to provide a range of toys and activities, and not to think about these toys and activities as gender specific. So, for example, stereotypically, a girl's toy would be pink. It might be a baby doll or a tea set, and something for boys might be blue or to do with football or cars. But actually, it's important to give all children the opportunity to experience all of these different things. Boys can enjoy playing with a baby doll and practicing ballet. Girls can enjoy playing football and racing cars along their living room floor. It is absolutely fine if children choose these stereotypically gendered toys or activities. If they've chosen them, that's great. But it's important that they are given the opportunity to experience all of these different things, regardless of their gender, so that they can make those choices themselves and aren't steered a certain way just because of the gender they identify with. The next thing is that in imaginary play, look out for any gender stereotypes that might be creeping in. So for example, if your child says they want to play hospitals and your child is a girl, do you automatically say, "Nurse, can you please help me?" rather than, "Do you want to be a nurse or a doctor?" They might want to be a nurse, but letting girls know that they can be lots of different things and they're not confined by their gender is really important. The next thing I'm going to talk about is books. Making sure that children are exposed to strong female leads in fiction, and then also learning about real girls and women in non-fiction. So such as in the Rebel Girls series. The book has beautiful illustrations and gives factual accounts of these women's lives and the differences that they made. Some of these women had to overcome prejudice or adversity or the patriarchal world that we live in. Others had physical difficulties that they had to overcome or learn to live with. And it's not so much that these women did incredible things despite their gender or despite the difficulties that they came up against, it's that they did all of these things and they were women and they had some difficulties that they came up against. Showing real world examples lets children know that women are not only powerful or leaders in fiction, it happens in the real world too. Rebel Girls gifted me quite a few of their books, so I really wanted to show you. Thank you to Rebel Girls for sending these. This is the Rebel Girls handbook. It has so many influential and incredible women in it. I showed this to my sister recently and she was so excited. One of her favourite women throughout history is Ada Lovelace, so she wanted to see if she was in here, and she was. Pretty much anyone you can think of is probably in here if they are a woman and they made a difference to society. They also sent me this Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, Baby's first book of extraordinary women, and I was so excited for this because I have a 2.5-year-old, and so a lot of these books aren't really accessible to him yet. I can read them to him, but some of them might be a little bit too complex or long for him to listen to. So this book is perfect because we can talk about the women, and it's a very quick and simple explanation of what they've done. We've got Cleopatra, Grace O'Malley, Mae Jemison. My son was particularly interested in Margaret Hamilton because she used her computer skills to send astronauts safely to the moon, and my son thinks the moon is incredible and that space is amazing. So it was great to show him that a woman helped astronauts to do that. This book even tackles the topic of race. So we've got Rosa Parks in here. When Rosa Parks was told that black people couldn't sit on the bus, she sat right down and demanded change. Of course, that is a very simplified version of what happened, but it does open up that dialogue between you and your child. So I talked to my son about that. And of course, when children are born, they're not born with any prejudice. They learn that behaviour. And so it's important that we show them all of these different examples. We also have Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, 100 Inspiring Young Change Makers. And I love this because it's about young women and girls. And so for young girls who are hearing these stories about incredible women and thinking, oh, when I grow up, I can do something like that, they've got examples of young girls doing it too, and that they don't have to wait until they're older to do something incredible. And then finally, I was mentioning gender and race, we have Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, 100 Real Life Tales of Black Girl Magic. So fantastic for all girls to be able to see that gender is not something that should confine what you do, and race isn't either. And I just love that with all of these books, there is something for everyone, and all girls are going to be able to identify with some of the people in these books. They can see themselves represented, and that is so valuable. Now, the last thing on my list is really important, and that is to do everything I talked about with boys as well. We do need to teach girls that they can do whatever they want, but we also need to teach boys that too. We need to teach boys that girls and boys are equal and that girls can do whatever they want to, just like boys can. Because if we don't challenge those stereotypes that boys will come to learn, then we'll have lots of empowered women, but still men who hold these archaic and negative views of women. We need men and women, boys and girls, to be working together to help us move past this hierarchy of gender. And of course, this applies to anyone who is gender fluid or non-binary, or just doesn't identify with any kind of gender or label. Being able to show young children that girls can do amazing things goes towards showing children that everyone can do amazing things. I hope you found this video helpful, enlightening, Do let me know in the comments below what you thought and if you've got any other tips on how to empower young girls. If you made it this far into the video, please comment the word rebel down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like as it really helps out the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to join the Little Learners family, and I will see you next time.